Yes, so students, there was internet disconnection. So I'll play the video again. Let me share the screen.
and phi or the strain properties or the unit weight of the soil, then we can determine what would be the safe load, and then we have to apply the uh, 1/5 of that estimated safe load up to the failure or at least 25 millimeter settlement. Suppose if the safe load is 100 kilonewton per meter square, then we have to first load increment that we have to apply is 20 kilonewton per meter square, or if the total load is 20 kilonewton, then the first increment of load will be 20, total load is 100 kilonewton, then first increment of load will be 20 kilonewton, then next one will be the 40 kilonewton, then next one will be the 60 kilonewton, like that. So, that means 1/5 of the safe load of that plate. So, that how we will get the safe load? By using the available bearing capacity theories. So, we have to get the soil properties for that. Now, for the each load, when you apply the each increment of each load, the settlement is recorded in the time intervals of 1 minute, 2.25 minutes, 6, 4, 6.25, 9, 16 and 25 minutes interval, and thereafter every hourly we have to take the load reading. So, that means we first apply, say for first application say 20 kilonewton we applied, and then we record it for 1 minute, 2.25 and 4, like this interval, and then up to 25 minutes, then every 1 hour we take the reading of the settlement. We are taking reading means we are taking the reading of the dial gauge or the LVDT to get the settlement. We are measuring the settlement. So, and then for the clay soil, this load is increased when the next increment is applied, when the time settlement curves indicate that settlement had exceed 70 to 80% of the probable ultimate settlement or at the end of 24 hours. So, what does it mean? It means that if the soil is sandy soil or granular soil, so that means there all the settlements are immediate settlements. So, you will get the settlement immediately. So, after say a few hours you will find or that there is a, I mean no further increment of the settlement or for no further significant increment of the settlement. So, they are depending upon soil or depending upon the site condition may take say few minutes to few hours. But if it is granular soil, because the range is 0.205 millimeter per minute. So, if your settlement range reaches this limit or if it is less than that, that means there is a change in settlement is 0.02 millimeter per minute, then we will stop. So, for the sand we will get this thing very early because because most of the things are immediate settlement. But as I mentioned, this test is also suitable for the granular soil, but for the clay also we can use this, we can do this test also in the clay. But as the clay, the most of the settlement are the consolidation settlement and this type of test is a short term test. So, for the long term settlement it is not I mean it is not very useful to use these things for the long term settlement, because we will not get the long term settlement because we are doing this test for the short term and for but clay has the long term settlement. So, in case of clay, so first for a particular load and if we apply on the plate, so for that particular load what would be the probable settlement that you have to calculate. You have to calculate by using the previous expressions that I have given, that immediate settlement and for that load what will be the consolidation settlement, then you will get the maximum probable ultimate settlement for that particular load. So, if your test reaches more than 70 to 80% of that probable ultimate settlement or after 24 hours, so whichever is earlier, you have to apply the next increment of load. And again for the next increment of load, what would be the probable maximum settlement you have to calculate, and then you have to use you have to see whether it is exceeds 70% or 80% of that. If exceed that, then you apply the next increment. This is for the clay, and for the sand generally we follow that if the settlement rate is less than 0.02 millimeter per minute, then we apply the next increment of load, and in the clay either 24 hours or if it exceeds the 70 to 80% of the probable ultimate settlement. So, probable ultimate settlement you will calculate by available the theoretical expressions for immediate and the consolidation settlement. So, next one, the settlement are recorded through a minimum of tool dial gauge and which is placed diagonally opposite to the plate, and load settlement curve for the test plate can be plotted from the plate load test data. So, ultimately the end product of this test that we will get a load versus settlement plot. So, we will apply the load, we will measure the settlement and then that we will plot that, and from that plot we will use for our design purpose. Now, after that we will get at the end of the test we will get this type of plot. So, you will find, so cohesive soil we will get, this is the plot for the cohesive soil, this is the plot for the loose to medium cohesionless soil, this is for the dense cohesionless soil, and this is partially cohesive soil. So, this chart is taken from the IS code. But one thing that I want to mention that that here if you find these different plots, so here we are not getting any peak. So, then to get the ultimate load, I have discussed in the previous class also, either you have to use for the double tangent method or the single tangent method. Here this load is parallel, this load settlement curve is parallel to the settlement axis. So, it is almost parallel to the settlement axis. So, we draw the tangent, the last state portion of the curve, and this will give us the Q ultimate. Okay. But for this type of curve where this it is not parallel to the settlement axis, then the initial state portion of the curve and the initial state portion of the curve and the final state portion of the curve. So, if I extend that, then the intersection point, this is the intersection point. So, corresponding load or the stress will give the ultimate load or the stress. So, this is the double tangent method, this is the single tangent method, by which by using these methods we can determine what would be the ultimate load from the low settlement plot. Then from this plate, ultimately you have to calculate the settlement of the foundation or the load carrying capacity of the foundation. So, ultimately from this test data, so there are few correlations are given between the plate settlement and the foundation settlement. So, this is the correlation first proposed by Tarzaki and Peck. So, by which if I use this correlation, we can correlate the plate settlement with the foundation, real foundation settlement. So, SF means the settlement of the foundation, SP is the settlement of the plate. So, this is the correlation for granular soil. Remember that this is for the granular soil, and if we are using this correlation, then BP and BF, width of the plate and width of the footing, should be in centimeter. So, remember that this should be in centimeter. Okay. So, and this is applicable for granular soil and for the footing. So, we can use this correlation to correlate the plate settlement and the foundation settlement or determination of the foundation settlement. So, next one is for the important consideration. So, as I mentioned that we cannot use the plate size less than 30 centimeter. So, I mean then we will not get the appropriate or proper results. Another very important thing that this test is suitable for the homogeneous soil. For the layered soil, then this test will not give the appropriate result, because if it is a homogeneous soil, then influence of the real foundation and influence of the plate will be on the same soil, because the size of the plate is say 30 centimeter, or then the real foundation size say 2 meter. So, as I mentioned, for the settlement we will go the influence zone up to twice B. So, for the say real foundation, the influence zone is up to 4 meter below the base of the footing, but in the real plate the influence zone is only 16 to 2. So, that will be 120 centimeter. So, if it is a homogeneous soil, then it is fine, because both the cases this influence zone is the same soil. But if it is in layered soil, then it may be a possibility that for the plate your influence zone is only in the top layer, but in the actual foundation influence zone may be in the other layers also. Those effect of those layers are not incorporated, are not in the plate load test. So, those effect you are not getting into your plate load test result, because your plate loading influence zone is not reached up to those layers. So, that is why we may not get the proper result. And then the capillary in sand bed increases its effective vertical stress or stiffness. So, the test will result in a reverse severe estimate the actual settlement. So, if there is a capillary lies, then you have to keep in mind these things, that your result in a severe underestimate the actual settlement. So, you have to take care in that case. So, these are the things. So, these are the so it has some advantages. So, we will get the data from the field itself, but it has some limitations also. These are some limitations. Another one, in the clay soil, we know the consolidation settlement or the time dependent settlement or the long term settlement are the major thing, but here we are getting the immediate settlement. So, so if I use this settlement, so then we have to use these expressions. So, this is for the expression is values for the clay soil. Okay. So, this is the settlement of the footing, this is settlement of the plate, and this is the width of the footing, width of the plate. So, this is applicable for the clay soil, though it will give you the immediate settlement. So, next one is in terms of ultimate bearing capacity calculation from the plate load test. So, for the cohesionless soil, so the ultimate load carrying capacity of the foundation and the ultimate load carrying capacity of the plate can be correlated with the width of the plate and the width of the foundation. So, this is the correlation for cohesionless soil, but for the cohesive soil, as I have already mentioned, that the cohesive soil, your net ultimate load or the net ultimate is not function of width, even your ultimate load is the function of depth only, but it is not function of width. So, none of the cases, whether it is the ultimate load or net ultimate, so your bearing capacity for clay soil is independent to the width of the footing. So, that is why here this width is not giving any effect. So, that is why you have the ultimate load carrying capacity of the plate is equal to the ultimate load carrying capacity of the foundation. Remember that your soil should be homogeneous. So, these are the correlations in terms of bearing capacity. Now, how I will calculate the safe bearing capacity from a plate load test. The safe bearing capacity of a footing can be determined from the load settlement curve of the test plate. So, if you have a load settlement curve, from that load settlement curve we can determine what would be the safe bearing capacity from the plate load test data. Now, how we will do that? So, if we have the permissible settlement of a footing, real foundation is say SP. SP is the foundation of a permissible settlement of foundation of width is the SP. Okay. So, this is not the plate. So, this is the permissible settlement. Okay. So, this is the permissible settlement of a real foundation width of BF. Now, what will be the settlement? This is the settlement of the plate. This is the because here both the cases SP is used. So, that is why. So, from this permissible settlement, what would be the settlement of the plate that we corresponding to this permissible settlement, then we can determine these things by using the correlations that we have just discussed. So, now from this correlation you will get what will be the settlement of the plate corresponding to the permissible settlement of the footing. Then from the load settlement curve, with respect to that settlement of the plate, we will get the intensity of load, and that intensity of load will give us the safe bearing capacity of the foundation or the safe bearing capacity from that load settlement curve. So, this will so that is why the load settlement curve can be used to determine the safe bearing capacity of the soil, as well as it can use the settlement of the foundation also. So, ultimately we can use this test data for our design purpose. So, next one, that in the safe bearing capacity calculation from the plate load test, we have to apply the corrections factor, because till now we have considered that there is no water. So, water effect we have not considered, but if we think that there is the possibility of water table rise, then we have to consider the water table effect also. So, that means how we will consider the water table effect? Now, for the actual settlement of a foundation, that will be the settlement that we are getting from the plate load test divided the correction factor. Remember that there is one thing is that when we are applying the correction factor for the bearing capacity, we are multiplying that correction factor with the bearing capacity, because water will also always create a negative effect. So, if the water table increase height water table height increases, or the position of the water table increases, then what will happen? That your bearing capacity value will decrease. So, that is why you have to multiply the bearing this correction factor, and these correction factors are always less than 1. So, maximum it varies, maximum value is 1. So, it is always less than 1 or 1 depending upon the position of the water table. So, in case of bearing capacity, as the water table reduces the bearing capacity, so you have to apply the correction factor, you have to multiply the correction factor with the bearing capacity value. But in case of settlement, here also it will create the negative effect. So, here you have to divide it, so that your amount of settlement will increase due to the effect of water table. So, that is why in case of bearing capacity you have to multiply the correction factor, in case of settlement you have to divide the correction factor. So, that is the case here, it is the settlement. So, we have to give the correction factor or to multiply divide it by the correction factor. And this correction factor we can get by two methods. One is Pick, Hansen and Thorman 1974, and where df is the depth of water table below the ground level. So, remember that the difference between these two methods, that if this is your foundation and this is the ground level. So, your here df is dw is this one, this is the df, d is the depth of foundation, b is width of foundation. So, any position of the water from the ground surface is called as dw. But as per the IS method, if you look at this method, then if this is the depth of the foundation df, then your dw dash is measured from the base of the foundation. dw dash is base of the foundation. Suppose this is the position of the water table, here this is the position of the water table. So, remember that here this is dw dash means it is measured from the base of the foundation, and dw means it is measured from the top of the or the from the ground surface. So, sometimes dw is limited to the base of the foundation also, but here in this case, so that means the influence zone is up to df plus b. So, that I have already explained. So, this is up to b, here also influence zone is up to b. Beyond the b or depth from the base of the foundation, we do not consider the water table effect. So, here if say water table is at the base, so dw dash is 0, then Cw will be the 0.5. So, and here we can have a different value. So, in IS code, according to the IS code, if your water table is at the base level or above the base level, then the correction factor is always 0.5. So, base level from or above the base level it is 0.5, and at the B from the base of the footing is 1, and in between base to the B depth we can use this expression. Okay. So, with this I am finishing this today's lecture. In the next class I will solve a problem by using a plate load test data. Then I will show how we can use this plate load test data to determine the safe bearing capacity or the settlement, and how we can incorporate the water table effect. Thank you.
So, students, in the video, the plate load test was covered. What is the aim of the plate load test? Okay. So, we calculate net ultimate bearing capacity or the settlement from the test, right? So, sir has mentioned about the dimensions of the plate, right? And in the procedure, he mentioned how we need to increase the loading and at what time we need to increase the loading, and for which type of soil we have to increase the loading, like that he discussed. And when coming to the graph, So I was said already for you, we use double tangent method or single, mostly double. So mostly double tangent method is used to determine the ultimate bearing capacity from the graphs. Okay, and for different type of soils, the curve was varying. If you have seen the graph, okay. So these things were there in the video. And one more thing regarding correction factor. So he said when we need to use the correction factor, right? So the whatever the settlement that we calculated from the graph or from the plate load test, it may not be the correct value, right? So there may be error in the value due to the water table position, right? So we apply the correction factor mostly whenever there is water table effect. Okay, and there were two formulae regarding correction factor, and the correction factor value always should be less than 1. Okay, so these things were there in the video. Okay, right. So any doubt in the plate load test? Anyone? Any doubt in the plate load test? Yes. Right. So I have shown you already the video on plate load test. Okay. So you can watch again to get clarity on how do we perform it in the field, the plate load test. And one more thing, plate load test is a test which is conducted for days together. Okay, so it can't be completed within an hour or 2 hours like that. Okay, so to understand, see settlement or the settlement occurs due to the consolidation process. It is known to everyone, right? So settlement mainly occurs due to the consolidation, right? And the consolidation process, it was mentioned for you already. It will undergo for hours, days, and years. Okay. So because of that consolidation process, which requires a time, okay, because of that, whenever we perform the plate load test, okay, to get true values in the field, okay, we conduct the test for hours. Okay, and right. And it was mentioned for you when do we need to stop the test also. Okay, so you can't, if as it is said, it can be conducted for days. Okay, you can't conduct it for 5 days, 6 days, 10 days like that, right? So it was mentioned in the video that for how much time we need to conduct the test. So whenever there is no further settlement, okay, whenever there is no further settlement, when you are applying the load on the plate, then you can stop your test. That is one point where you can stop your test. Okay, and or else we can say whenever there are very small settlements, okay, then also you can stop your test of conduction of plate load test. Okay, these are 2 points when we have to stop the plate load test. Right. So this is about plate load test. Okay. Right. So I'll take the attendance. Meanwhile, you can ask your doubts. If you have any doubts, you can ask your doubts. See, I'm playing the videos because you need to expose to the different way of teaching and different way of understanding. Okay, so I felt these videos are good actually. See, I have seen many NPTEL videos. Out of those NPTEL videos, okay, so his teaching is very good. I think so. Means not lengthy, not deep. Okay, he is giving required information about any topic. Okay, so that is why I'm playing it for you. And because plate load test was already explained, okay, I thought of for thinking of a different way of teaching, so I preferred NPTEL video for this. Okay. So in the next class, we'll be discussing about SPT test, and in the first unit, it is also covered for you already regarding SPT test. Okay, so standard penetration test. Okay, so this was covered for you already in the first unit. Again, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. So go through the first unit PPT once before attending the next class.
Ma'am, please send PPT.
It was shared for you, right? Twice I shared for you. Before mid exam also I shared the link of unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. Check your mail once, Prashant. If you can't find it in your mail, in your class group mail or 18 civil, okay, you can message me. Then I'll forward again. Okay? See, links are available. I may not send you the PPT. Okay, links are available. See, we can't. It is like very difficult with our internet issues. Difficult to send a PPT, and the size of the file may be large, right? So that is why I sent you the links for all PPTs. Check the links. Okay. Right. So, thank you, students, for attending the class, for being in the class. Okay. So, if you have no doubts, it's okay. Uh, right. And see, in the WhatsApp group, I said you to submit the links of your assignment. Okay. So, it's okay that you have submitted unit 1 assignment, unit 2 assignment. Okay. Those are with me already. But you need to do one more thing. You need to submit your links. Okay. Please save your assignment documents in your drives, mail drives, and share the link with me. Okay, I have provided a Google form for you in the group. Okay, please provide your links, Google Drive links of your mails, personal mails in the Google form, so that I can access your assignment through your mail ID itself. Okay, so if we collect your data in our mails, no, it will be like a garbage. Okay, So that is why if you forward the links, it will be good for us to go through. Right? So you need to send links of your assignment. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. Okay? In the Google form that is provided for you. Links only acceptable, not the PPTs, not the PDFs, not the documents. Okay? Only links. Right. So I mentioned you the last date also in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So please provide your assignment links in the Google form. Okay. You might be having already, I think so. Okay. But only third unit assignment you have to do now. I think so. Okay. Right. Thank you, students. I'm ending up the class.